So I was talking about the concept of limiting factor beta the other day. Limiting factor or key factor. I told you that whenever there is a limiting factor beta, decision should not be taken on the basis of profit per unit. Profit per unit is never a decision making criteria because the amount of fixed cost that we incur, guys, remains constant irrespective of the product that we choose. Are we clear? So that is why fixed cost should not be considered. Contribution per unit normally would have been taken into consideration, guys, if there was no limiting factor, but because we have a limiting factor as beta, instead of taking contribution per unit into consideration, we will take contribution per limiting factor. That contribution per limiting factor beta will be contribution per machine hour or per labor hour or per kg of raw material, depending on whatever is the limiting factor. All right, कहाँ तक लिखे बेटा एक बार नोट से. I also gave this point beta that you will take a decision on the basis of contribution per limiting factor provided there is no product specific fixed cost and there is only one limiting factor. All right. Shutdown point. ये जो भी अपन कर रहे हैं ना बेटा अभी allocation of machine hours, remember it is all short term decision making. Strategic decision making is you will want to see which product has a higher scope in the future, which product do you want to work on, which product is going to have higher margins on a later date. It is not like whichever is giving us a higher profit now let us manufacture that and ignore the long term goal. इसीलिए मैं बार बार बोल रहा हूँ this is all for the purpose of short term decision making. CVP analysis undoubtedly also helps in long term decision making but limited scope, that is it helps in identification of what is relevant, what is not relevant for decision making. Are we clear? Now beta shutdown point. Did we cover the concept of shutdown cost earlier? Yes or no? Shlok, can you tell me what a shutdown cost? I'm sure guys you will not want to drink this. This is green tea. Take it. Doesn't taste good. So the way you are staring at me, आराम से बैठ के पीते रहता क्लास में बोल के ये. Entity जो close करते समय the cost that we incur बेटा is shutdown cost. Nandini. Same. Janvi. After closing the business. The fixed cost that you continue to incur as such guys even when the premises are temporarily shut down is called as shutdown cost. It is not the cost that you incur to shut down the premises. So do not say better that the cost that is being incurred to shut down the premises is called as shutdown cost. It is the cost that you will continue to incur even after shutting down the business for a temporary period or for permanent. For temporary period is called as shutdown cost. Shutdown point beta is the point of indifference. When you say point of indifference guys, there are two decisions that we have in front of us. Prachi sun rahi hai beta? The two decisions guys, as in there's a decision as such beta with two alternatives. Either you continue to manufacture or you shut down your premises for a temporary period. Whatever decision that we're taking now is purely on financial grounds. It is not on the basis of qualitative factors. Organizations do not take decisions on the basis of financial considerations alone. You shut down your business for a temporary period as such guys, it has a huge impact on the amount of customer base, on the amount of product loyalty guys over a longer period. People will undoubtedly switch to other product lines. That's a strategic decision. CVP analysis does not help us with that. CVP analysis यही बोलेगा कि financially क्या better है. Imagine better that an airline industry thinks that it is not viable to operate during a particular season and they shut down their operations during that season as such better. Very few customers as such guys are loyal towards a specific brand as far as airline industry is concerned. Brand loyalty वहाँ पे थोड़ा कम होता है as such guys. So if that proportion of customer as such guys does not find an airline during that time, they'll obviously switch to an other airline. Once they restart their operations, the possibility as such better that those customers will switch back to them would be less. So that long-term impact on customer base should also be considered when you're shutting down your premises. That are non-quantitative factors. Abhi, purely on the basis of financial considerations, let's say guys that the total fixed cost an organization is incurring is about 10 lakhs. ठीक है, ये 10 lakhs में से बेटा avoidable fixed cost is 6 lakhs. When I say avoidable fixed cost, you will not incur this in case you shut down your premises. This fixed 6 lakhs will be incurred only if the company continues to manufacture. Unavoidable fixed cost as such beta would be 4 lakhs. Apart from this, the question might also tell us beta that if business is shut down, ये आज तक मतलब CA इंटर लेवल पे बहुत कम दिया हुआ है, बट फाइनल में है, इसलिए I just covered that. If business is shut down as such guys, let's say additional cost to be incurred on reopening. Possible? There might be some amount of expenditure that you have to incur as such guys on reopening the organization. Let's say beta that is 50,000. Now, the amount of unavoidable fixed cost as such guys is absolutely useless. It is irrelevant as such beta for decision making. Are we understanding this beta Shlok? The amount of unavoidable fixed cost will be irrelevant. It will not be relevant. क्यों irrelevant हो जाएगा? तुम decision जो लेना है लो guys. Can you avoid incurring that expenditure? Hence the name unavoidable fixed cost. The only expenditure that will be relevant for your decision making as such beta is avoidable plus that additional fixed cost that you're going to incur on reopening. These are the expenses guys that should be affecting your decision. Are we understanding this? Let's say the price at which the product is being sold as such guys is 100 rupees. The variable cost per unit as such beta is 60 rupees. The contribution per unit beta is 40 rupees. Our product at present will be sold at a price of 100, variable cost is 60, contribution 40. I told you there are two alternatives. Either you continue to manufacture or you... If I continue to manufacture as such guys, let's say the demand is X units. My revenue will be how much better? 100x. My variable cost will be, my contribution would be, what will be the amount of fixed cost? I will incur exactly 10 lakhs. I will have to incur both avoidable as well as, because you are manufacturing. Unavoidable to वैसे ही incur करने वाले थे. Unavoidable fixed cost is anyways the amount of fixed cost that you're going to incur only if you manufacture. Yes or no kids? The amount of loss that you are going to incur, profit or loss, it will obviously be loss. If you're making a profit, why even think about shutting down? समझ में आ रहा है? इसीलिए इकोनॉमिक्स में पढ़ते हो बेटा, शट डाउन प्राइस इज द प्राइस एट विच यू आर रिकवरिंग योर वेरिएबल कॉस्ट बट यू आर नॉट एबल टू रिकवर योर टोटल कॉस्ट. That is where you incur a loss, and that is where you decide whether you have to temporarily shut down your premises or not. If you shut down, there's zero revenue, zero variable cost, zero contribution. Yes or no? But the amount of fixed cost that you're going to incur better is 6,50,000. 6 lakh rupees is avoidable fixed cost as such better. 4 lakh 50 guys. वही देख रहा था मैं. You will incur only unavoidable fixed cost. Avoidable fixed cost will not be incurred. And apart from that, as such better, you will have to additionally incur 50,000 rupees. When will you incur this 50,000? On reopening the organization. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है guys? So the amount of loss that I will have here beta is 4,50,000. X is the indifference point. We're trying to compute the volume guys at which my total loss under both the alternatives will remain same. 40x minus 10 lakhs is equal to negative 4.5 lakhs. I'll write 40x is equal to 5.5 lakhs. X equals 5.5 lakhs divided by 40 beta. 13,750 units. Shutdown point is 13,750 units. The indifference point between you continuing to manufacture operations guys or you shutting down the operations will be 13,750. Alright. समझ में आ रहा है ये? Rudraksh, what if the expected volume is less than 13,750? Sir, the loss under shutdown will be more if the expected volume is less than 13,750. So you will continue to manufacture. Nabil, We should shut down. Reason. So reason. Bharat. If you continue to manufacture. I told this point guys under EBIT EPS indifference point also. I said whenever you compute indifference point, doesn't matter which indifference point for what purpose, less than the indifference point you select an alternative with a lower fixed cost. Greater than the indifference point you select an alternative with a, which among these have a lower fixed cost for S? So if the expected volume is less than 13,750 units, you should shut down because it has a lower amount of fixed cost. If the expected volume is greater than 13,750 units, you should continue to manufacture. Are we clear about this? Yes or no, guys? Let's say beta that the expected volume is 20,000 units. If the expected volume is 20,000 units, again we have two alternatives. You continue to manufacture beta or you shut down the premises. If you continue to manufacture, can I directly write contribution? Contribution at the rate of 40 rupees per unit, guys. कितना हो जाएगा? Smart guys, killing it. Shut down करे तो please do not multiply guys, it will be 0. 0 multiplied by any number is 0. Fixed cost beta, here it will be 10 lakhs, here it will be 4,50,000. My profit or loss is साथ beta, under the first alternative it will be 2 lakhs. Second alternative 4,50,000. Which alternative is resulting in a lesser amount of loss? You will continue to manufacture if the expected volume is more than the shutdown point. What if the expected volume for us is 10,000 units? If you manufacture guys, your contribution would be 4 lakhs, shutdown 0. Here you will have a fixed cost of 10 lakhs, here it will have a fixed cost of 4,50,000. Loss of 6 lakhs, loss of 4,50,000. If the expected volume is less than the shutdown point, it is better to shut down. If the expected volume guys is, नाम के लिए it is shutdown point guys, it should have been called as indifference point, but नाम उसका दे दिए वो लोग shutdown point बोल के. So when they say shutdown point also guys, please remember that it is a point of indifference. Anything less than this you will prefer shutdown. Anything greater than this you will prefer to, without referring to our cell phones. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है बेटा? Doesn't matter phone a friend guys or Instagram का reel. The conclusion is going to remain same. Any doubt in this? Yes or no beta? अगर exactly shutdown point पे expected volume है guys, practical, it is better to manufacture so that you retain your customer base. Real life में guys, even if it is less than the amount of shutdown point, people might prefer to manufacture. The non-qualitative factors are much important than this. Guys, do entities take decisions to shut down their operations for a temporary period? Definitely yes. 2020 classic example, कभी Google करना है तो कर लेना. So many capital intensive industries as such beta shut down their operations for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, not more. But they preferred doing that as such beta because the cost of operating a plant at a very low volume is significantly higher. There was huge amount of inventory pile up. The cars that they were manufacturing as such beta, obviously कोविड के टाइम पे जब लॉकडाउन है लोग कार खरीद थोड़ी निकलेंगे, नहीं आज बोर हो रहा घर पे कार खरीद के लाता हूँ, क्यों बोले तो पार्किंग में घुमाते रहूंगा नीचे बोल के. So there was huge amount of inventory pile up as such beta that was happening, and that is why entities shut down their plants for a temporary period guys. But let's not forget, these entities when they took a cost, it had no relevance to revenue. The amount of revenues did not get impacted. They were not able to sell cars earlier also, now also as such guys. They did not want inventory pile up. If you have to manufacture and keep stocking those inventories as such guys, the amount of cost, carrying cost as such beta would be significantly higher. That is why they chose not to manufacture at all. Are we clear about this? There's so many restaurants as such beta that all decided to temporarily shut their premises. They're like, let's not continue only, we will shut it down for 5-6 months, and as and when the market improves as such, conditions improve, they will again restart their operations. Are we clear about this? So extreme cases mein, yes, people do take decisions of manufacture versus shutdown. I give you an example in the first class also. I said back then beta shacks in Goa used to shut down for 4-5 months during rainy season because the demand used to be significantly lower. But these days there's no such thing called season as such beta. It is season throughout the year. 12 months go, you will find people there as such beta. So none of them prefer to shut down their operations even for a temporary period. All of them prefer to continue. Are we clear about this? Bhavya समझ में आ गया बेटा? So Bhavya, if you were to give a formula, ऐसे बैठ के बैठे ना बेटा और नींद आती. तो मालूम है ना तेरा नाम क्यों लिया मैं अभी? So when you say shutdown point as such beta, the formula guys is given in the material is avoidable fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. I do not want to just write avoidable fixed cost. I would prefer writing difference in fixed cost. Because अगर shutdown में कुछ extra cost incur करने वाले हो, that will not be taken care by the numerator. This answer is very good guys, as long as there is no extra cost. Usually they do not give that extra cost at CA intermediate level. They will never talk about this. But अगर दे दिया तो बेटा, you should be prepared. So that is why it is better to write what? Difference in fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. So the answer will be 5,50,000 divided by 40 rupees per unit, 13,750 units. Are we all clear about shutdown point? Any doubt in this? X has 2 lakh rupees investment in his business firm. He wants a 15% return on his money. 2 lakhs per 15% return, beta X को कितना चाहिए? 30,000. From an analysis of recent cost figures, he finds that his variable cost of operating is 60% of sales. If variable cost is 60%, guys, how much will be fixed cost? No relation. I knew guys you will tell me. Contribution is 40%. Thoda suno properly. If variable cost is 60%, beta contribution will be 40%. His fixed costs are 80,000 per year. Show computations to answer the following questions. What sales volume must be obtained to break even? We will not be able to compute volume. We will only be able to compute value. So you will write fixed cost divided by PV ratio. 80,000 upon 40%. It's a mere coincidence that break-even sales is equal to the amount of investment that X has. Are we clear? There's no compulsion that break-even point should be equal to the amount of investment. Next, what sales volume must be obtained to get 15% return on investment? This is sales for a desired level of profit. What's the formula for sales for a desired level of profit? Fixed cost plus desired profit divided by PV ratio. So that is 80,000 plus 30,000 divided by 40%. Very good guys. Look up at answers. 37th one. Investment 2 lakhs. Desired profit is 15% of 2 lakhs and that is 30,000. Variable cost ratio guys is 60%. So PV ratio बेटा तेरा ये हो गया है तो कर लिया था पहले 2 bits but ठीक है ध्यान दे. Variable cost ratio is 60%. PV ratio is 40%. First one beta is break even sales. Fixed cost divided by PV ratio. Fixed cost guys is 80,000 upon 40% and that will be 2 lakhs. Second bit beta is sales for desired level of profit. Fixed cost plus desired profit beta divided by PV ratio. Fixed cost is 80,000, desired profit 30,000 divided by a PV ratio of 40% and that will become 2,75,000. Third bit guys, it says X estimates that even if he closes the door of his business, he would incur 25,000 as expenses per year. 25,000 will be avoidable or unavoidable fixed cost. So For the third bit, guys, you will write total fixed cost कितना है? Guys, तुम लोग now here, guys, how much is your total fixed cost? 80,000. इसमें से the question says unavoidable. The portion that you will continue to incur, guys, is how much? 25,000, guys. So how much will be avoidable fixed cost? 50. So this 55,000 is only relevant for decision making, guys. Understand like this. If you shut down, fixed cost will be equal to 25,000. Only the unavoidable portion. If you continue to manufacture, fixed cost will be 80,000. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है बेटा? So the relevant fixed cost portion beta would be equal to how much? 55,000. Therefore your shutdown point, guys, will be equal to, instead of writing contribution per unit, I will have to write PV ratio. So 55,000 divided by a PV ratio of 40%. 137,500. Look at the requirement, guys. It says at what sales would he be better off by locking his business up? That is, when will you prefer shutdown? So I'll write, if the expected sales is less than 1,37,500, it is better to shut down the business. समझ में आ गया है? ये लिखो. Question is very clear, guys, as to which department is a limiting factor. Yes or no? The question says that it is department whose manpower cannot be increased beyond its present level. But how much is that present level is not given. Is there any way that we can compute, guys? Existing annual production can be used as the basis to know how many labor hours are available in department A alone. Yes or no, guys? Once you get that existing number of labor hours, you will use maximum possible sales for allocation. Read the question again, guys, now. Try to figure out the answer. क्या डाउट है लक्ष्य? डिपार्टमेंट बी का बेटा नहीं लेगा. फॉर कंप्यूटिंग वेरिएबल कॉस्ट यू विल टेक डिपार्टमेंट बी के वेजेस, गाइस, बट नॉट फॉर कंप्यूटिंग कंट्रीब्यूशन पर लेबर आवर. लक्ष्य, try to understand the question better. First, all of you compute the total number of labor hours available, guys. All of you compute the total number of labor hours available. ये सबके ब्रैकेट्स में अटेम्प्ट दिख रहे ना बेटा, पूरे क्वेश्चंस एग्जाम में आते, टाइम पास के लिए नहीं करा रहा हूं. आ गया देखो नंबर ऑफ लेबर आवर्स कितने हैं? 2,80,000. You will write existing production multiplied by number of labor hours, guys, per unit of department A. 2,80,000. Very good. Now, guys, you will have to compute contribution per unit and then compute contribution per labor hour of department A. And then allocate, guys. When you are allocating total number of labor hours, will you allocate on the basis of existing production or maximum possible sales? Maximum possible. अगर existing ही करना है ना बेटा, then there is no limiting factor, because you have sufficient number of labor hours to meet the existing production. You know that you can increase sales beyond the existing level, but you cannot increase number of labor hours. That is why you will have to allocate on the basis of maximum possible sales. That is the question all about. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? All of you guys first write, what is the limiting factor here? Limiting factor, labor of department A. Total labor hours beta of department A to be computed on the basis of वो जो existing demand दिया हुआ है, that is only and only to compute total labor hours. Once you compute that beta, that is useless. Are we clear, Shlok? To be computed on the basis of existing production. Existing production, guys, of X, Y and Z. What are the number of units at present? 10,000, 12,000 and 20,000. Labor hours per unit of department A बेटा, एक सेकेंड, लेबर आवर्स पर यूनिट सिर्फ डिपार्टमेंट ए का ही लेना गाइस, डू नॉट टेक फॉर डिपार्टमेंट बी. 6, 10 and 5. Total labor hours 10,000 into 6, 60,000. This is 1,20,000. This is 1 lakh, 2 lakh. So total labor hours available will be 2,80,000. एक बार ये आ गया है, I'm repeating again, existing production is useless. Are we clear about this? Once you compute this, but existing production is useless. Now what will you compute? Contribution per unit. उसके बाद में contribution per labor hour, मतलब same statement में. They did not directly give us what is the total variable cost. We will have to compute. From selling price you will deduct, selling price दिया हुआ है ना? Deduct direct material, deduct direct wages, deduct variable overheads. When you deduct direct wages, will you take only department A or will you take both the departments? For computation of contribution per unit, you should take all expenses. Decision के लिए you will take contribution per labor hour of department A. Department B might not be a limiting factor, but you still have to pay them wages. You cannot tell them you're not a limiting factor, will not pay you बोल के. लक्ष्य, हर एक चीज में श्लोक को मत देखो यार तुम लोग ऐसा. Compute contribution per unit guys. यहां तक हो गया है. Contribution per unit बोल के लिखना अभी. Statement of contribution per unit and contribution per labor hour. Selling price per unit कितना है बेटा X का? 312. Y 400. Z 240. Less variable cost per unit. Direct material कितना है? 160. Y Z direct wages guys, two departments A and B. A का rate per hour कितना है? 4 rupees per hour. B is 8 rupees per hour. 6 hours and 6 hours. 24 and 48. 10 hours beta 40, 15 hours 120. 5 hours and 11 hours. And then variable overheads per unit guys. How much are variable overheads per unit? 8, 20 and 12 guys. You have to deduct all of this in order to get contribution per unit. 72 and 80, 160, 240, 72. 120, 240, 300, 100. 80, 20, 240. Once you get contribution per unit, what are you going to divide this by? Labor hours. कौन से department के लोगे? भूल जा बेटा. राघव किसी और का हो चुका है. Contribution per labor hour of department A. $72 by 6, 100 by 10 and 40 by 5. बोल बेटा. 12 per hour, 10 per hour and 8 per hour. Ranking guys. Okati, Randu, Modu. Now you know what is to be done guys. You will have to allocate 2,80,000 labor hours. Those 2,80,000 labor hours should be allocated on the basis of this ranking. And consider maximum possible sales. There is no minimum requirement here. On the basis of ranking, we all know that product X is profitable. Instead of selling 10,000 units of product X that you were doing at present, wouldn't you want to sell 12,000 units because you know there's a possibility of selling 12,000 units? Because you can make a higher amount of profit. That is why when you allocate labor hours, you will have to go by the maximum possible sales that is possible. 12,000. So your available labor hours are 2,80,000. First preference will be given to product X. Instead of selling 12,000 units, how many units will you want to sell? Instead of 10,000 units, you will want to sell 12,000. How many labor hours per unit? We are taking only labor hours of which department? A, because only that is a limitation. You will deduct 72,000. बचे हुए कितने hours है? 2,08,000. Second preference is being given to product Y. How many units that you can sell? And each unit will take how many hours? You will multiply by 10 hours per unit, 1,60,000. बचेंगे कितने बेटा? You will not be able to meet the entire demand of product Z. For 48,000 hours divided by 5 hours per unit, 9,600. Though maximum possible sales are 24,000 units, you will not be able to sell that. समझ में आया? Therefore, guys, your optimum product mix will become last one beta. Kajal, समझ में आया? You do not have to write available labor hours again. Just write the total and then deduct in this order. So your optimum product mix, guys, is X 12,000, Y 16,000, and Z 9,600. They've also asked us to compute total contribution. Just multiply this by contribution per unit and you will get total contribution. So basically we are reducing sales of Z to produce more of X and Y so that the company can make a higher amount of profit. Just multiply by contribution per unit, guys, and that will be the answer. 28,48,000. You will write 12,000 units multiplied by, what's the contribution per unit of the first product? 72 beta. Y guy is 16,000 multiplied by 100. Z beta 9,600 multiplied by total 28,48,000. They did not give us the amount of fixed cost. We will not be able to compute the amount of profit. Minimum price decisions / accept reject decisions. Accept reject decisions. Minimum price / accept reject. Again, all of this is only short-term decision making, guys. I hope you still remember the point. For short-term decision making, we do not worry about recovering fixed cost. But I told you guys, over a longer period, you cannot have that approach. You will not say that fixed cost is not relevant for decision making. Are we clear? Now, whenever the company has to decide the price of a new order that they have received, special, alag-alag naam se aa sakta hai beta. They can either use the word special order, they can use the word minimum price decision, or they can use the word accept reject. Company has received a new order. Company is to evaluate whether they should take up the new project or not. If the company has to evaluate the acceptance of a new project, guys, the minimum price to be charged should be equal to the amount of relevant cost. Relevant cost will comprise of variable cost, will comprise of product specific fixed cost. Did we take variable cost here? Did we take product specific fixed cost? This minimum price beta should also comprise of opportunity cost, if any. Opportunity cost arises if there is no spare capacity. If there is spare capacity as such beta, there will be no opportunity cost. Homework question. The question says that the company has sufficient excess capacities. If the company has sufficient excess capacities to accept a new order, you do not have to cut down on the sales of any existing product. If you do not have to cut down on the sales of any existing product, there is no opportunity cost only. So you directly write, guys, minimum price to be charged will be equal to the amount of variable cost plus the amount of product specific fixed cost, if any. Are you getting it, guys? Now, let's say, guys, that the company has a machining capacity of 30,000 hours. Out of this 30,000 hours, but there's a product P that is being manufactured at present. The contribution, guys, that we are getting on a per hour basis from product P is about 12 rupees. The company has received a new order beta for a product Q. Product Q ka variable cost per unit is going to be 20 rupees, guys, and it is going to take 1.5 hours per unit. Variable cost is 20 rupees. It is going to take 1.5 hours per unit. Let's assume that there is no product specific fixed cost. Now, if there is spare cap, iska order size beta, let us say, is 5,000 units. If there is spare capacity beta, the minimum selling price that you will be willing to charge will be directly equal to variable cost per unit, 20 rupees. There is no other cost that the organization is incurring. There is no opportunity cost, there is no contribution that you're going to forego as such, beta. That is why I'll directly write that the minimum amount of selling price will be equal to your variable cost per unit. If there is no spare capacity, if you were to accept product Q, guys, you will have to cut down on the production of product P. Yes or no? First one, beta Devansh. So if you have to cut down on the production of product P, what will be the minimum selling price? तुम्हारे नोट्स में कुछ नहीं है बेटा, वैल्यूज यहाँ पे है. The ones who are looking in their notes, तुमको सपने में आया क्या मैं एग्जांपल दिया बोल के लिख के आया घर पे? नहीं बच्चे ऐसे फुल डिटेल में पढ़ रहे मटेरियल में, क्या पढ़ रहे मेरे को नहीं मालूम है. कौन से पेज पे बेटा भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है स्टडी मटेरियल में ये जो दिए सो. यस बेटा देवांश. सिंपल गाइस, तुम लोग ऑलरेडी सॉल्व कर चुके हो बेटा, मेरे को बस फॉर्मली एक जगह लिखाना था ये सब. यू गाइस हैव ऑलरेडी डन ऑल ऑफ दीज कॉन्सेप्ट्स वेदर यू नो इट और नॉट. अभी पिछले क्वेश्चन में भी यही करे अपन. ट्वेंटी 38 गधेड़ा. Minimum selling price guys will be equal to variable cost of Q plus contribution foregone, or you can write plus opportunity cost. You will have to definitely recover 20 rupees per unit. Yes or no beta? Plus contribution foregone guys would be, for every 1 unit that I manufacture of product Q, I will have to cut down 1.5 hours that are allocated to product P. How much is Q taking? 1.5 hours. तुम 1.5 hours product P का खींच के यहाँ पे लेके आ रहे हो बेटा, and product P was giving you a contribution of how much per hour? 12 rupees. So you will write 1.5 hours multiplied by 12 rupees per hour. My opportunity cost is going to be 18 rupees. I will have to recover that 18 rupees. So the total amount beta will become 20 plus 18, 38 rupees. This will be the minimum selling price that you will have to charge if there is no spare capacity. Are we understanding this? What if capacity utilized at present is 27,000 hours? अपने पास total machining capacity कितनी थी? The ones who forgot the example, but I started with 30,000 hours. Are we understanding this, guys? The total number of machine hours that were available, guys, were 30,000 hours, beta. Now, so what is the spare capacity that is available? Okay. There is no opportunity cost as far as 3,000 hours are concerned, but I know that the new order size is how many units? 5,000 units. Each unit is going to take how many hours? 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours multiplied by 5,000 units. The total number of machine hours required are, मेरे पास spare capacity is 3,000 hours. The spare capacity beta is 3,000 hours. And the capacity required for the new product is 5,000 units multiplied by 1.5 hours. 7,500. You know that you will have to cut down as such, guys, on the production of product P only to the extent of. So I will have an opportunity cost as such, guys, but that opportunity cost beta will only be for 4,500 hours. Yes or no? And for every 1 hour that I divert from product P, guys, to this, how much is the contribution that I'm foregoing? 12 rupees per hour. ये समझ में आ रहा है क्या लिखा मैं? 12 rupees per hour into 4,500 hours beta. This is my opportunity cost. Now when I decide minimum selling price, अभी मैं total लिखूंगा क्योंकि that 54,000 has to be adjusted over 5,000 units. So total variable cost is 5,000 units multiplied by 20 rupees, 1 lakh. And what is my opportunity cost? 54,000. The total amount beta will be 1,54,000. Divide by 5,000 units and you will get your minimum selling price per unit. 1,54,000 beta divided by 5,000, 30.8. So on में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no, kids? If they give us the selling price of the new product, and they tell us as such beta that you can accept the order in parts, then I will have to take a decision separately for that spare capacity and separately for 4,500 hours. In case they specify the selling price of the product. Let's say beta the customer is willing to pay us 34 rupees per unit. The customer is willing to pay 34 per unit, and the order cannot be accepted in parts. Matlab you either accept the entire 5,000 units or you reject those entire 5,000 units. You cannot manufacture a part of the order. What will you do? Will you accept the order? Customer is willing to pay us 34 rupees per unit, guys. You either accept it or you reject it fully. What will you do? The answer is yes, because I know that the minimum selling price beta is how much? समझ में आ रहा है? Anything more than 30.8 is such beta you will be willing to accept. What if the order can be accepted in parts? If the order can be accepted in parts, that means you can manufacture a part of the production. Then what will you do? Will you accept the entire 5,000 units or will you want to accept only a part of it? Only a part of it. You will not accept the entire order. Product P, product Q, guys. Q beta, I just told you that the selling price is 34. Variable cost is 20. Contribution कितना हो जाएगा? Can you compute contribution per hour? Divided by 1.5 hours. 9.33. P का contribution per hour कितना था? You will always want to give preference to product P because it is giving us a higher contribution per hour. From the spare capacity, if available, you are going to manufacture and sell product Q. So अपने पास spare capacity कितना है? In those 3,000 hours, how many units can I manufacture? 2,000 units. I will reject order for 3,000 and accept only 2,000 units. That will result in a higher profit than accepting the entire order beta at 34 rupees per unit. Are you getting it? In case there is an option of accepting order in parts, abhi hai nahi guys apne liye, but padha raha hu wo bhi. The questions that we will usually see is either accept it fully or reject it. There is no part order. But in case there is an option, guys, you go normally like how you did all the limiting factor questions. Rank the new product also and see if it is more viable, you will allocate capacities to the new product. If it is not viable, you will continue to allocate capacities to your existing products only. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Hero, समझ में आया? See guys, the ones who are still confused. At present, we are allocating how many hours to product P? I will get 27,000 hours multiplied by 12 rupees. Yes or no? And जो 3,000 hours है बेटा, उसमें से मेरे को 9.3333 मिलेगा. This is the amount of contribution that I'm getting. If I accept all of those 5,000 units, pay attention. For 22,500 hours, I will get 12 rupees. And for those 7,500 hours, I will get 9.3333. समझ में आ रहा है? Obviously, which one will give us a better answer? If you have an option of accepting it in parts as such beta, then you are going to do that only. You are not going to accept the second one. If you do not have an option of accepting it in parts as such, guys, then the decision is totally different, guys. It's either 27,000 into 12 or it is 22,500 into 12 and 7,500 into 9.333. If it is either accept fully or reject fully. Ab beta, this will give us a better answer. Are you understanding the difference between both the alternatives, guys? Yes or no? Check कर ले बेटा, वो correct ही है. क्या कर रहा है यार तू? Guys, I'll tell you the difference also beta. 3.2 multiplied by 5,000 units. This will result in a higher value by 16,000 rupees. Check कर. Correct, no? Did you calculate? Oh my God, zero trust. Ray, lecturer Ray, relation kaadu. You can trust me. आधे लोग को नहीं समझ में आया. Yes guys. Anyways, are we understanding this? समझ में आया? Guys, if product Q is giving us anything more than 12 rupees per hour as such beta, you'll obviously give preference to product Q. समझ में आ रहा है? Real life, again, decisions are not taken like this. You cannot simply take a decision on the basis of, let's say beta Q is a one-time order and P के साथ बेटा जन्मों का रिश्ता है. समझ में आ रहा है? You are cutting down on the total number of units that are being supplied as beta to some other customer who has a long-term relation. Will you want to choose one product just because it is giving us a higher profit for the temporary period? The answer is no. So unless you're expecting those repeat sales as such guys from the other order also on a continuous basis, preference will not be given to product Q even if it is resulting in a higher amount of profit. This is why entities better measure something called as customers lifetime value, CLV bolte hai in SM terms. So they will see what is the amount of profit that a customer guys is going to give to the organization over its entire life rather than better from a single order. That will help the organizations take better decisions. So on में क्या बोल रहे हो guys? अभी question number 46 guys. PQR Limited manufactures medals for winners of athletic events and other contests. Its manufacturing plant has a capacity to produce 10,000 medals each month. The company has a current production and sales level of 7,500 medals per month. Capacity कितनी है? 10,000 units. Current production. What's the spare capacity? 2,500 medals is the spare capacity. Are we clear guys? The current domestic price of the medal is 150 rupees. 150 में medal मिल रहा है बेटा. मेहनत क्यों करना है? The cost data for the month of August 2021 is as under. They've given us variable cost, better direct materials, direct labor cost, overheads, fixed manufacturing cost, fixed marketing cost. Total cost is 10,87,500. All right. PQR has received a special one-time order only for 2,500 medals at 120 per medal. Required. Should PQR accept the special order? Why? Explain briefly. Okay, start guys. Your variable cost per unit is how much? You should not take a decision on the basis of total cost per unit. You should take a decision only on the basis of variable cost. So all you have to do beta is write what is the amount of variable cost that the organization is incurring at present guys. So समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है बेटा? So what is your total existing variable cost? Total existing variable cost beta. Can you add all of those values and tell me? 260 to 500 plus 3 lakhs plus 75,000. It puts up 6 lakhs. This is your total existing variable cost guys. So your variable cost per unit that we are incurring, this is for how many units beta? 7,500 units. So our variable cost per unit will become 85 rupees per unit. First bit ke liye you will write beta capacity is 10,000 units. Presentation can vary guys. If you've written the answer, that's sufficient. What is your existing production beta? Existing production guys is 7,500 units. What will be the spare capacity guys? Spare capacity guys is 2,500 units. Yes or no guys? And the new order size beta is how much? The new order size is 2,500 units. Will there be any opportunity cost? No opportunity cost. Spare capacity beta will be sufficient. You just have to mention that the existing spare capacity is 2,500 and the new order size is also 2,500. That is why there will be no opportunity cost. Are we clear about this guys? So our incremental profit guys will be how much? Incremental profit beta would be equal to your incremental revenue minus incremental cost. Our incremental cost will only comprise of what now? Variable cost beta. So this will be equal to, we will get a revenue 120 into 2,500. Our incremental cost beta will be 85 into 2,500. कितना बोले थे total incremental profit? 87,500. This is the amount of incremental profit that we are getting. That is why beta, yes, the company should accept the order. Any doubt in this? Existing production is only 7,500. No doubt about it that existing metal is giving us a higher contribution per unit. But the question is, will you be able to sell those additional 2,500 units at that price? No. So at least something is better. No, instead of getting 65 rupees per unit, you're at least getting 35 rupees per unit here. If you can manufacture and sell 10,000 units guys of the existing product at a price of 150, no doubt you will prefer that only. But we cannot manufacture and sell more than 7,500. जब spare capacity है, why not use it for the new order and make a little extra profit. Pay attention guys now, stop writing for a minute. What is the production capacity that they're asking us to consider better now? They're telling us that the capacity is only 9,000 units instead of 10,000 units. What is your existing production? 7,500. Because the existing production is 7,500 guys, spare capacity will be 1,500 units. But the new order size beta is how much? And the order has to be accepted in full or rejected, yes or no? Either in full or rejected totally better. So new order size is 2,500. If the new order is accepted, we will have to cut down on the existing sales by how many units? If the new order is accepted, existing sales should be reduced by 1,000 units. We already have a spare capacity of 1,500 beta, the order size is 2,500. Existing sales, क्या बोल रहा था मैं, should be reduced by 1,000. Alright, my opportunity cost beta would be 1,000 units multiplied by the selling price of the existing product beta was 150, variable cost was 85. Hi Anna. So this is 65,000. Without opportunity cost, I already know that my incremental profit guys was 87,500. 87,500. So even if I consider an opportunity cost of 65,000 guys, my net incremental profit will be 22,500. Are we getting it? Even if you consider this opportunity cost of 65,000 beta, your incremental profit will still be 22,500. Likho beta ye, I'll give that note. If the order can be accepted in parts, then guys you will want to allocate 7,500 existing only, and naya order you would have accepted only to the extent of 1,500 if the order can be accepted in parts. You can present two profitability statements, you will still get the same net difference, 22,500. Yes guys. What's the answer to the first bit? The fixed factory overheads given case obviously would be irrelevant for decision making. We've already discussed this so many times as such better that unless otherwise given, it will always be common fixed cost, and that is why they will not be relevant. Did I repeat this sentence guys many times? So the only relevant cost that you will have to consider beta is variable cost 375 and 80 beta and 16 400 and this is your total variable cost per unit. If you buy the component from outside, you will have to isko bolte make or buy decision. Make or buy decision is also on the basis of relevant cost only, but यहाँ पे दोनों केस में relevant cost ही है. If you manufacture, your relevant cost per unit is 471. If you outsource and directly buy from someone else better, your relevant cost is 485. So if you outsource guys, you will have to incur 14 rupees per unit more. That multiplied by 2 lakh units, we will end up losing 28 lakhs. So it is better to manufacture, because under manufacturing we will be saving an amount of 28 lakhs. That's the answer. Are we clear? Likho beta first bit. This is a make or buy decision. Make or buy decision beta. Relevant cost of manufacturing will only be variable cost per unit, and that is 471 per unit. Unless otherwise given, fixed cost will be common fixed cost and hence not relevant. Unless otherwise given, fixed cost, unless otherwise given, better, fixed cost will be common fixed cost and hence not relevant. What is your relevant cost of procurement? Supplier's price, guys. Relevant cost of procurement, guys, will be 485 per unit. Therefore, the company should manufacture, as it will result in a saving of 14 rupees per unit. Total savings. Total savings, beta, 14 rupees per unit into 2 lakh units. Kitna hai? 28 lakhs. Second bit, guys. It says, in case you are outsourcing, जो अपनी machining capacity है, we will be able to rent it out and generate an income of 32 lakhs. Either you consider that as an opportunity cost under manufacturing or take that as an inflow under supplier. दोनों में मत करना. You cannot take the same cash flow under both the alternatives. So if you manufacture, guys, you now know that your relevant cost, guys, is not just 471 per unit. There's also an opportunity cost of 32 lakhs. So you will have to write 471 per unit plus that opportunity cost of 32 lakhs. Your effective cost as such will become 487. Well, the supplier's price is only 485. Therefore, now you will outsource. If you outsource as such, it will result in a saving of 4 lakhs. समझ में आ रहा है? How will it result in a saving? You will pay 485 rupees to the supplier, but you will also be getting an income of 32 lakhs by outsourcing that machining capacity. Is that clear, guys? Look, I can write 2 lakh units multiplied by 471 plus opportunity cost कितना? 32 lakhs. कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? 970 तो 30 ऐड करा गलती से. Option 2 में बेटा the total relevant cost of procurement would be the total relevant cost of procurement, guys, कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? 2 lakh units multiplied by 485. How much will that be? 970 lakhs. Total relevant cost of procurement, guys, will be 970 lakhs. So what's the conclusion? It is better to outsource, which will result in a net savings of 4 lakhs. As I was saying, the intent is to ensure that you first understand the entire question better. Did you all read the question? So here, guys, you will see the question is not about the end product. Question relates to your components. There are 3 components that you need with a voice module, control panel and power adapter. All of these components can either be manufactured or they can be outsourced. The number of labor hours required per unit, the number of machine hours required per unit, guys. Direct labor, direct material, variable overheads are given. Purchase price from supplier is also given. Fixed overheads, even if it is given on a per unit basis, it will not be relevant for decision making. Let's not take that into consideration at all. The problem beta is that labor is a limiting factor. If labor is a limiting factor as such beta, it may not be possible for us to manufacture all the components. The variable cost per unit, guys, of voice module is how much? Iska 4,000. Iska 2,000. No doubt about it, guys, that even if you had labor capacity as such beta, you will not manufacture control panel. Because the variable cost of manufacturing control panel is 4,700, whereas the supplier price beta is common sense. It is better to outsource. You will directly procure 4,000 units guys of control panel. अब बात करते हैं वॉइस मॉड्यूल की. वॉइस मॉड्यूल में बेटा नंबर ऑफ लेबर आवर्स पर यूनिट, एंड वी हैव हाउ मेनी लेबर आवर्स. खींच के लगाना है सही में, नहीं इतने अच्छे क्वेश्चन है फाइनल में, जा दो तुम्हारे टेस्ट में देता हूं मैं. सो 4,000 hours are only available guys. क्या तो करेंगे. So what you have to do बेटा now is compute something called as savings per hour. Decision will be taken. अगर तुम लोग फर्स्ट कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चर करते हो, you will incur a cost of how much? 3,400. If not manufacture that, if you outsource, you will have to incur 3,000. What is the saving per unit if you manufacture? What is the saving per unit if you manufacture power adapter? To save 300 rupees, I will have to spend 1.2 hours. To save 400 rupees, I will have to spend. Which component is giving me a higher saving per labor hour? That is how you decide which component should be manufactured. समझ में आ रहा है? Decision is still based on contribution per limiting factor, but instead of using the word contribution, we are going to use the word savings per limiting factor. Whichever component is giving us a higher saving per limiting factor, you will give preference to that component. You will manufacture that first. Capacity bachi so hai, then you go to the next component also. Are you all getting this guys? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Labor is a limiting factor. Undoubtedly decision will be taken guys on the basis of that limiting factor only, but instead of using the word contribution per limiting factor, we are going to use the word. मैं यही बोल रहा था बेटा, एक एक क्वेश्चन करके they're introducing it through MTPs and RTPs. They're just bringing those. ये पहले नहीं थे ऐसे questions पूरे, but they're all simple only guys. They're not complicated at all. समझ में आया नहीं आया ना? The first one beta is voice module. The second one is control panel. Third one beta is power adapter. They will purposely give fixed cost. That does not mean you consider it guys, even if it is given on a per unit basis. समझ में आ रहा है Bharat? Let them, unless they use the word ये specific fixed cost है, you are not going to take that into consideration. Variable cost per unit if component is manufactured. If component is manufactured, can you tell me the variable cost beta? Direct material plus direct wages plus variable overheads, सब तीनों मिला के 3,000. Next, and variable cost per unit guys if the component is outsourced. Cost तो variable ही है ना बेटा. Relevant cost per unit if it is outsourced. Guys, even if you outsource, you have to pay on a per unit basis only, no? वो थोड़ी रिश्तेदार है बेटा. कितना है बेटा? 700, 3,300. Savings per unit if component is manufactured. If you manufacture the first component, how much are you going to save? -100. And what are the labor hours per unit? यहाँ पे मैं लिख भी नहीं रहा हूँ बेटा. There's no point in writing it because it's anyways to be outsourced. Last वाला, what will be the savings per labor hour? 300 divided by 1.2, 250. So last वाला बेटा, 400 divided by 3.5, 100 and ranking में guys, first preference will be given to voice module, next beta to power adapter. Are we clear? ये definitely outsource पूरा का पूरा ही. Now how many labor hours are available? Are you all following? सबको समझ में आया नहीं आया यहाँ तक? Available labor hours 4,000. Voice module भी पूरा अपन नहीं बना सकते. How many units better can we, is the demand? 4,000. You need to manufacture 4,000 units, but then we have only 4,000 hours available. So how many units will you be manufacturing of voice module? 3000? 3333. Are we clear, guys? Now the final decision beta would be voice module. Next control panel. चुपचाप 1 2 3 लिखे तो क्या आता कि इनका पावर एडाप्टर. इतनी मेहनत कराते यार. How many units will you manufacture? How many units will you outsource, guys, of voice module? Outsource 667 units. ये पूरा का पूरा outs. Power adapter also. We do not have labor hours available. We have only 4000 hours available. This is the answer. समझ में आया? Cost and difference point is revenue does not change depending on your decision. Revenue will still remain intact. The only thing that will change is the total cost under both the alternatives. There might be an alternative with a lower amount of fixed cost. There might be an alternative with a higher amount of fixed cost. You compute the indifference point, and once that is done, guys, based on that indifference point, you will take a decision as to which alternative is preferable based on the expected volumes. Is that clear? When you're computing the indifference point, guys, revenue per unit is irrelevant. तुम manufacture करो using method 1 or method 2. The product will still be sold at a price of 25 rupees. Your revenue is not going to change. The only thing that will change is your cost. Just like how you did in the previous question. Let X be the volume at indifference point. Write total cost under alternative 1. Write total cost under alternative 2. Equate both of them, you will get X. Value. Let X be the total volume, guys. How many of you are done with indifference point? Let X be the total volume, guys, at indifference point. दो बार किया. दोनों हाथ उठा रहा तो मैं पूछा 2 बार करा क्या बोल के. Yes, guys. Let X be the total volume. Method 1 में total cost कितना हो जाएगा? Guys, ICI में सिर्फ एक फॉर्मूला है बेटा. Difference in fixed cost divided by difference in variable cost per unit. But कितने फॉर्मूलाज याद रखोगे यार? Just common sense, because everywhere else we have just equated two things whenever you have computed indifference point. So continue to follow this only. So total cost कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? 15x plus 1 lakh. Method 2, guys, what will be the total cost? $10x plus 3 lakhs. Equate both the costs now. The total cost under both the alternatives, guys, should be same. You will get 5x is equal to 2 lakhs. X equals 40,000 units. For computation of indifference point, why is revenue per unit irrelevant? Irrespective of how we manufacture, selling price per unit is going to remain constant. That is why it is not relevant. अगर selling price भी change हो रहा है बेटा, then we compute something called as profit indifference point. We include revenue also, and we will equate profit under alternative 1 with profit under alternative 2. I'll give you a note for that. समझ में आया नहीं आया? Now, guys, if expected volume is less than 40,000 units, what will you do? Once हो गया. Expected volume is less than 40,000 units, guys. Method 1 will be selected as it has lower fixed cost. And if expected volume beta is greater than 40,000 units, method 2 will be selected. Expected volume is greater than 40,000 units, method 2 will be selected. Second bit, guys, they're asking us to compute break-even point for each method separately. Now you will have to take revenue per unit. Method 1, method 2, guys. What's the selling price per unit? 25. Variable cost per unit? 15 and 10. Contribution per unit? Fixed cost? break even point, fixed cost divided by contribution per unit, 10,000 units, and ये second वाला break even point is anyways useless beta. So if expected volume is less than 10,000 units, do nothing. Do not implement method 1 also. If expected volume is greater than 10,000 units, method 1 will be implemented up to 40,000 units. If expected volume is greater than 40,000 units, method वो पूछ रहा नहीं, बस बोल रहा हूँ, ठीक है. Next, profitability statement guys under absorption costing. What's the difference between marginal costing and absorption costing, better, Manjari? Difference between marginal costing and absorption costing. Marginal costing में वेरिएबल कॉस्ट कंसिडर करते हैं, एंड अब्जॉर्प्शन कॉस्टिंग में जल्दी जल्दी Kashish. Under absorption costing guys, we include both variable and fixed manufacturing cost in the valuation of inventory. Under marginal costing, we include only variable manufacturing cost guys. This was the very first thing that I've explained in this chapter. I said though the name is marginal costing, there is very little valuation of inventories that we're going to do. Majority it is going to be decision making. So all the questions that we did as such beta so far were revolving around decision making only. Abhi beta yahan pe when you say profitability statement under absorption costing, the profitability statement is similar to the profitability statement beta that you present in accounts. Normally accounts में क्या करते थे बेटा? अरे आना भाई इसको. So under absorption costing guys, we include both variable and fixed manufacturing expenses. So instead of presenting that in the form of accounts, we are going to present that in the form of a statement. We will not be presenting that in the form of an account, but we'll be presenting it in the form of a statement. That's the only difference as such guys between absorption costing and marginal costing. I have a backup plan guys for everything. ये छटकने से ठीक नहीं होता. Thank you. One second. ना भाई अभी तो so instead of presenting in the form of a statement as such guys, we present instead of presenting in the form of an account, we present it in the form of a statement. So we will write sales. The entire trading account beta takes the form of COGS, cost of goods sold. जो भी तुम लोग ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट में लिखते हो, all the manufacturing expenses, whether it is variable manufacturing expenses, whether it is fixed manufacturing expenses, it does not matter as such beta, it will be included as a part of COGS. All right, so ये COGS में आएगा बेटा first your variable manufacturing expenses. After variable manufacturing expenses we will include fixed manufacturing expenses. Variable manufacturing will include direct material, direct wages, direct labor, direct expenses बेटा जो भी है. Fixed manufacturing expenses are all your fixed overheads. इसका सबका total बेटा becomes your cost of production. This is not cost of goods sold. This is the cost of the units that has been manufactured better throughout the year. To this you will add opening stock of finished goods minus closing stock of finished goods. The only thing that you should be good at is valuation of inventory, but we already did that in the very first example. This cost of production will be the cost of the total number of units that were manufactured during the year. Based on that, on a proportionate basis, beta Ayush, we are going to value our closing stock. That is how we are going to arrive at the valuation of closing stock of finished goods. समझ में आ रहा है? Once you adjust that opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods, what you arrive at is the amount of your COGS, cost of goods sold. Any doubt in this part? Once we get COGS better, एक important part here is that these fixed expenses guys will always be absorbed overheads and not incurred overheads. What is included guys in trading account first is only the amount of overheads that are absorbed. So what if there is under recovery or over recovery? We have learned the treatment of under recovery or over recovery of overheads, guys, in overheads chapter. Yes or no? Varsha, can you tell me what's the accounting that we have learned? Treatment of under recovery or over recovery of overheads. Laksh. Correct. Perfect, guys. The three methods that we have learned: first method, transfer the entire thing to P&L account. Second method, carry forward that to the next year and absorb it along with the overheads of the next year. Third method, which is the most appropriate method, what you just spoke about, you will analyze the reason for under recovery or over recovery of overheads. If it is on account of normal cost increase or decrease, you will absorb it using a supplementary rate. The remaining amount beta will go to, now by default, guys, it goes to P&L account. It doesn't get, if you include it here, even the amount of under recovery, you are indirectly including it in the valuation of inventory. If you are including it in the valuation of inventory, that means the entire amount of under recovery or over recovery beta, you are absorbing it using a supplementary rate. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं? Which is incorrect. You are not supposed to include it in the valuation of inventory. That is why यहाँ पे कौन सा amount लोगे? Only the amount of absorbed fixed overheads. We are not going to include the amount of actual overheads. If there is under or over recovery, we are going to separately adjust it, affect it in the end. We are not going to adjust it in the beginning. Once we get this better, COGS जो समझ में आया नहीं आया? So यहाँ तक there's only one point that you have to remember, that expenses that you're supposed to include here will be on an absorbed basis, not on an actual basis. There can be under or over recovery of overheads, but we are going to adjust that in the end, not here. What is the reason? If I adjust it here, what will I end up doing? I will end up including it in the valuation of inventory. Then what was the whole point of absorbing overheads when you have to include the entire overheads in the valuation of inventory? That is why you will only include the amount of overheads absorbed. Once we get this beta, you get the amount of gross profit. जैसे तुम्हारा trading account में तुम लोग लिखते हो, by sales and then to gross profit. After that beta comes the expenses that you've included above, guys, are variable manufacturing expenses and fixed manufacturing expenses. Yes or no? What are the expenses that we did not include yet? Administration expenses, selling and distribution expenses. So all office, admin, selling and distribution expenses beta will be adjusted after this. These are the expenses that come in your P&L account. Alright, ये costing है, interest नहीं आएगा यहाँ पे बेटा, but बाकी पूरे expenses will come under this category. Whether it is variable, whether it is fixed, we do not care about it. They will be coming here. Are we understanding this? Once we arrive at this beta, you will arrive at the amount of net profit, but this net profit will be before adjustment of under recovery or over recovery of overheads. Didn't I tell you that there is under or over recovery of overheads? If there is under recovery of overheads, that means the expenditure that was included earlier was less. You're now going to adjust that expenditure, guys. So you are going to deduct under recovery of overheads. And if there is over recovery of overheads, that means you've already included a higher share of expenditure earlier. The actual expenditure is less. If you've included a higher share of expenditure earlier, did you not reduce your profits? What will you now do? Add it back. Over recovery of overheads, and that will give us the exact amount of net profit, guys, under absorption costing. As simple as this. So this is how we are going to present our profitability statement under absorption costing. How to present profitability statement under marginal costing? We are all experts in it. अभी तक क्या कैसे लिखते आए बेटा अपन? Sales minus variable cost will give us the amount of. Now, under variable cost, I will have to segregate how much is manufacturing expenditure and how much is selling and distribution expenditure. We were not bothered about it so far because we were not bothered about inventory valuation. Abhi jo apan bana rahe beta profitability statement, it is all going to be based on inventory valuation only. So you will write all direct material, direct wages, direct expenses. You will get variable manufacturing cost. It is at this point that you will, including your variable overheads, variable manufacturing overheads. It is at this point that you will adjust your opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods. Because inventory under marginal costing is to be valued at variable cost only. So that is why once you arrive at the sum total of variable expenses, you will adjust your inventory valuation as well by adjusting your opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods. एक बार ये adjust कर दिया बेटा, you will get variable cost, manufacturing cost, but of units sold. This is still your variable cost, but of units sold. Now you happily adjust variable selling and distribution expenses. अब तुमको total variable cost आ जाएगा. So far you have written variable manufacturing expenses, you've written variable selling and distribution expenses. The only thing that I'm adding extra here is opening stock of finished goods, closing stock of finished goods. You add opening stock of finished goods, you deduct closing stock of finished goods, guys, in order to arrive at the variable manufacturing cost of units sold. Are you getting it, guys? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? एक बार ये total variable expenses आ गया, क्या आएगा next? Contribution. After contribution comes under marginal costing, we do not absorb fixed expenses. Absorption comes only under absorption costing. It does not come under marginal costing. So there is no question of you writing absorbed fixed overheads. You will directly write actual fixed overheads. So all the actual expenses will come. Doesn't matter whether it is manufacturing fixed cost or whether it is selling and distribution expenses. You will arrive at the amount of net profit. You do not have to worry about writing net profit before under recovery or over recovery of overheads. You will directly write the amount of net profit. Are we understanding this? Yes or no, guys? What time ho gaya, aaya nahi hai exam mein, but the questions are still covered in your materials as such, guys. That's why we still have to do it. Are we understanding this? Guys, similar hai, but XYZ Limited has a production capacity of 2 lakh units per year. Normal capacity utilization is reckoned as 90%. So 2 lakh units multiplied by 90%, beta 1,80,000 units. Standard variable production costs are 11 rupees per unit. Fixed costs are 3,60,000 per year. So in case you follow absorption costing, you will be absorbing fixed overheads at the rate of 3,60,000 divided by 1,80,000 units. कितना हो जाएगा? 2 rupees per unit. Variable selling costs are 3 rupees per unit. Fixed selling costs, guys, are 2,70,000. In this chapter, you will not be absorbing any selling expenses, guys. Selling expenses are anyways not included in inventory valuation. There's no point in absorbing them as such, beta. एक दो chapter बाद में आएंगे when we do integrated, non-integrated accounts. Therein the question will ask us to absorb everything. We will not have an option. We will have to do it. As of now, you're going to absorb only fixed manufacturing expenses. पढ़ाई पे ध्यान दो. The unit selling price is 20 rupees. In the year ending on 30th June 2020, production was 1,60,000 units. Sales were 1,50,000 units. Closing stock is 20,000 units. So opening stock can be computed, guys. You have details of production, you have details of sales and closing stock. The only thing that is missing, beta, is opening stock. You will write opening stock plus production minus sales is equal to the amount of closing stock. You will get opening stock as 10,000 units. Check कर सकते हो बेटा. Opening stock plus production minus sales will be equal to closing stock. Opening stock missing है बेटा. You will get opening stock as 10,000 units. The actual variable production cost for the year were 35,000 higher than the standard. Whatever you were supposed to incur as per the standard, guys, that is 11 rupees per unit multiplied by 1,60,000. This should have been the standard variable production expenses. तुम actually कितना incur करे? 35,000 more than that, so that will be 17,95,000. This will be your actual variable production cost. All right, guys. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ, guys? Now, they're asking us to present the profitability statement under both absorption costing as well as marginal costing. एक second बेटा सुन लो. We know that our production, guys, is how many units? 1,60,000. Sales are how many units? My standard variable production cost per unit कितना है? Standard variable production cost per unit is 11 rupees. So what should have been my standard variable production cost? Standard variable production cost beta should have been 11 multiplied by 1,60,000 units, guys, and that is 17,60,000. But what will be your actual variable production cost? Actual variable production cost beta would be 35,000 more than this, so 17,95,000. वो 35,000 more question में दिया हुआ है बेटा. After that, guys, there's nothing given regarding variable S&D expenses. So obviously actuals will be equal to standards. How much is standard variable S&D per unit? 3 rupees. So what do you think beta should be standard as well as actual? Standard or variable S&D, guys, will be 3 rupees. Should I multiply it by 1,60,000 or 1,50,000? So this will become 4,50,000. Massive expenses likh raha hu beta taki it's easier for you. Are we clear? How much is your fixed production cost, guys, per year? Fixed production cost 3 lakh. What should be your normal capacity? 1 lakh. 2 lakhs ka 90%, guys. It will be 1,80,000 units. Yes or no? How much will be your absorption rate per unit in case you follow absorption costing? Absorption rate per unit, guys, is 2 rupees. Hi na beta. What do you think will be fixed overheads absorbed? Production overheads absorbed. How many units did you actually produce? Fixed production overheads absorbed beta would be 2 rupees per unit multiplied by 1,60,000. That will be 3 lakh. Do we have under recovery or over recovery? Under recovery. How much under recovery? 40,000. Kuch nahi diya beta. That means actual expenses are at par with budgeted. You were supposed to incur 3,60,000. You absorbed only 3,20,000. How much is your fixed selling and distribution expenses? उसमें absorb क्या, actual क्या, भाड़ में गया सब कुछ. Correct बेटा? Yes or no? भरत समझ में आया बेटा? So these are the expenses that we have, guys. I have written how much is actual variable production expenses, how much is fixed production overheads absorbed, how much is actual variable S&D expenses, how much are your fixed S&D expenses. The only thing that is not given here, opening stock. Excellent. The value of opening stock that we need to present profitability statement. What do we do? See guys, in the previous question there was no opening stock. Here we have opening stock. Closing stock value we will compute based on current year's cost of production. Yes or no? But opening stock value, guys, I cannot compute it in the current period. It should be something that should be given because opening stock value beta was the closing stock of the previous year and that value should have been given in the question. So what do we do now? Based on standards. Assume, guys, that these stocks were valued at standards. That means, guys, under absorption costing it will be 11 plus 11 plus 2 rupees. Variable is 11, fixed is 2 rupees per unit. So under absorption costing, guys, opening stock will be valued at 13 rupees per unit. Under marginal costing it will be valued at only 11 rupees. Only variable manufacturing cost. To present profitability statement, we can compute closing stock value, but what is also required? Opening stock. Because it is not given, we will have to assume that it was valued at standards. So under absorption costing, it should be both variable manufacturing as well as fixed manufacturing. 11 plus 2, 13 rupees. Under marginal costing, it will only be variable manufacturing expenses. That is 11 rupees. Is that clear? Alright, beta. Let's write, guys. Opening stock plus production minus sales, guys, should be equal to what? Closing stock. Write it with me and do not talk. Opening stock plus 1,60,000 minus sales kitna hai beta? 1,50,000 should be equal to a closing stock of how many units? 20,000 units. So using this beta, you'll get opening stock as how many units? 10,000. Opening stock beta will be 10,000 units. One doubt hai kuch? Manoj, ho gaya? Opening stock is 10,000 units beta. Iske baad mein kya likhenge? Value of opening stock is not given. Therefore, we are assuming that it was valued at standards cost. Yes or no, guys? Right on. Profit aa gaya. Profitability statement, guys. How many if you're done with absorption costing? Maar khayega tu. जय हो गते हाँ. Profitability statement, guys, under absorption costing, guys, you're going to write the amount of sales. Sales is how many units better? 1,50,000 selling at a price of 20 rupees. So that will be 30 lakhs. After that, guys, we are going to write COGS, cost of goods sold. First beta will be variable manufacturing cost. Will you take standard or will you take actual? Actual, which is 17 lakhs 95,000. Then you will take absorbed fixed manufacturing cost. How much is absorbed fixed manufacturing cost? 3 lakh 20,000. दोनों का total beta is your cost of production. Cost of production, guys, will be 21 lakh 15,000. Did you all get this? To this beta, you're going to add opening stock of finished goods. I have already given a note that under absorption costing, these 10,000 units will be valued at a price of 13 rupees per unit. So that will be 1,30,000. Closing stock of finished goods, we are supposed to value, guys. 21,15,000 is the cost of how many units? 1,60,000 units. We have to compute proportionate cost of how many units? 20,000. Bol beta. 264,375. This will be deducted and you will get COGS. How much is COGS? 19 lakh. Please check beta if you all got the same values. Variable manufacturing cost is 17 lakhs 95,000 beta. Absorbed fixed manufacturing cost is 3 lakh 20,000. Cost of production is 21 lakhs 15,000. Abhishek aaya ye? This is under absorption costing, guys. Gross profit beta will be. उसके बाद में बेटा we are going to take and variable expenses, guys. 1,50,000 units multiplied by 3 rupees. Fixed expenses beta. Total of these expenses is 7,20,000. Now you will get the amount of profit, but this will be before adjustment of under recovery of overheads. This amount beta is profit before adjustment of under recovery of overheads. 2,99,000. यहाँ पे under recovery है guys, so I'm going to deduct it. Minus under recovery of overheads. How much will be under recovery of overheads? 40,000. You deduct that, guys, and you will get the amount of actual profit. 2,59,375. Profitability statement beta under marginal costing. How many of you are done with this also? The amount of sales, guys, is 1,50,000 units multiplied by 20 rupees. The amount of sales are going to remain same, 30 lakhs. Then Darvata, guys, we will write variable cost. But when you write variable cost, you will have to write what first beta? Variable manufacturing cost. Variable manufacturing cost of units produced is 17 lakhs 95,000. At this point only beta, you will adjust your opening stock of finished goods. How many opening stock? Valued at 13 rupees or 11 rupees? 11 rupees beta. 1,10,000 minus closing stock of finished goods, guys. 17 lakhs 95,000 is the cost of how many units? 1,60,000 proportionately for 20,000 units. 224,375. When you add this 1,10,000 and deduct 224, you will get variable manufacturing cost of units sold. Variable manufacturing cost of units sold is 16 lakhs 18,680. How much is variable S&D beta? 3 rupees per unit into 1,50,000 units beta, 4,50,000. How much will be your total variable cost? 21 lakhs 30,625. It is 21 lakhs 30,625. That will be your total variable cost, guys. You will get the amount of contribution beta. How much will be contribution? Deduct all the fixed expenses, and when you write fixed expenses, take actuals beta. You do not have to take absorbed. Fixed expenses, guys. How much is manufacturing fixed expenses? 3 lakh. How much is S&D beta? दोनों का total will be 6,30,000. How much will be the amount of profit? 239,375 is the amount of profit, guys. Any doubt in this? Now, guys, pay attention. Reconciliation statement में बेटा अपनी मर्जी है. You can either start with profit as per marginal costing or you can start with profit as per absorption costing. Choice is ours. If I start with profit as per marginal costing, 2,39,375. There will be two reasons for difference, guys. Now, one is valuation of opening stock, the other one is valuation of closing stock. Let's go by closing stock first. Will a higher closing stock result in a higher profit or a lower profit? Is closing stock higher under absorption costing or lower under absorption costing? Closing stock is higher under absorption costing. Yes or no, guys? I will add difference in valuation of closing stock. A higher closing stock beta results in a higher profit. Higher closing stock results in higher profit. And we know better that your closing stock under absorption costing is more. So when you shift from marginal to absorption costing, your absorption profit beta should be higher. Can you tell me the difference in valuation of closing stock? It has to be 20,000 units multiplied by 2 rupees per unit. That is the amount of fixed cost that is included in your closing stock. The only reason for difference in valuation beta is the absorption of fixed overheads. Yes or no? And we know fixed overheads are being absorbed at the rate of 2 rupees per unit. So for 20,000 units, the amount of fixed overheads that will be absorbed will be 40,000. On account of opening stock, guys, will a higher opening stock result in a lower profit or a higher profit? Lower. Same side आ रहा है बेटा trading account में. ऐसा सोचो, if you increase the debit of opening stock, your profits will reduce. I will have to deduct the difference in valuation of opening stock because opening stock is higher under. Opening stock is higher beta. Guys, whether it is opening, whether it is closing, it is always going to be higher beta under absorption costing. But a higher opening stock results in a lower profit, a higher closing stock results in a higher profit. Opening stock is higher beta under absorption costing, resulting in lower profits. How much is the difference beta? It has to be 20,000. How did we get that 20,000? Number of units are 10,000. 2 rupees per unit is the amount of fixed cost, guys. So that will be 20,000. So you add 40,000, you deduct 20,000. Kitna ho jayega? 2,59,375. This will be the amount of profit, guys. Under what? Absorption costing. Copy the statement. Now, guys, the next concept that we have in marginal costing, beta, the last concept is relevant costing. There's one question, beta, that's included, question number 58. Frankly speaking, guys, I believe it was included in RTP by mistake. It shouldn't have been included, but because it is included, it is our job, beta, to do it. And सीखने को ही मिलेगा, beta. It's not like you're not going to learn. Whether or not it is useful at CA inter level, it will be useful for that self-paced learning module in CA final. SCMP जो paper है strategic cost management and performance evaluation. उसमें guys one topic is relevant costing. So if not here, somewhere it will be useful, guys. If not there also, बेटा जिंदगी में काम आएगा, याद रखना. बच्चे पूछे ना बाद में तुम्हारे क्या पढ़ा था बोल के, relevant costing बोलना. हाँ, काम में नहीं आया तो ऐसा होता ही नहीं बेटा. हर चीज जो जिंदगी में सीखते. Guys, whether or not, guys, it is useful in real life, learning something new triggers your brain. That's the only way your brain muscle can remain active. All right. So it is not about whether everything that we learn in life. ऐसे तो बेटा फिर मतलब there's no explanation. I can talk about anything. Why are we doing this? There's no point बोल के. चलना भी क्यों? हाँ. ये बोल रहा है डांस करते करते जाएंगे कहते. Anyways, guys, pay attention. So when you say relevant cost, I already told you guys all the short-term decisions should be taken on the basis of relevant expenses, relevant revenues. How do you decide whether something is relevant or not? Two conditions. anything better that is to be incurred on a later date, and it should change, differ under different alternatives. If these two conditions are met, guys, it will be termed as relevant, otherwise it will not be relevant. Every historical cost as such, guys, sunk cost is always irrelevant for decision making. Every future cost will, no guys, future cost maybe you have to see the second condition, it should differ among different alternatives. Are we clear about this? Now, talking about the first element of expenditure, guys, that is raw material. Let's say beta that you have a raw material A. You have 10,000 units of raw material in stock. This was procured, historical cost, it was procured, guys, at a price of 20 rupees per unit. If you sell it in the market, beta, resale price, you might get only 16 rupees. If you want to buy new materials today, replacement cost, it is about, replacement cost ka matlab kya hai? If you want to buy new material, guys, the cost, guys, would be 22 rupees. Usually whenever they talk about material expenditure, they will give you these three values: historical cost, realizable value or resale value, and replacement cost. Realizable value, guys, Abdullah sun raha na beta? Realizable value, guys, is the price that you will fetch if you sell the materials in the market today. Replacement cost is the price that you will have to pay in order to buy the raw material today. You are not a dealer of that raw material, guys, that you will be able to buy and sell at the same price. It's possible for a dealer as such better to make a profit by buying and selling. When you buy some product, the price at which you buy, the price at which you will be selling, guys, will be substantially different. Now, let's say that there is a new project coming your way, guys. For this new project, you need raw material A. Okay? If you need raw material A, guys, for this new project, what should be considered as relevant for decision making will depend on what is the alternate use of that material. I have explained this in materials chapter, guys, under market price methods, replacement cost, resale value method, realizable value or resale value method, jo bhi beta, huh? So if there's a new project that needs raw material A, let's say beta the quantity of raw material that you need is 8,000 units. This raw material was already procured at a price of what? 20 rupees. If I go as per my cost records, guys, the cost allocation to the new project, if I use this 8,000 units, will be 8,000 multiplied by 20 rupees, 1,60,000. Yes or no? Relevant costing bolta hai, you can never take historical cost into consideration for the purpose of decision making. It is useless. So if this material is in regular use, then what will you take for Y replacement cost? Even if you use this 8,000 units for the new project, you will have to immediately purchase more quantities for what? Some other project. So your incremental expenditure on account of you accepting this project is not 20 rupees per unit, it is going to be 22 rupees per unit. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? In case the material is in regular use. How do you decide what is relevant for decision making? Beta is simple, with the decision and without the decision. Bhavya, with the decision you will end up consuming the existing 8,000 units for the new project, but for something else you will have to buy fresh quantities at a price of 22 rupees. That is why beta replacement cost should be taken as relevant. Without the decision you are not going to buy more quantities at 22, you will use the existing quantities. Existing quantities will anyways be used. But if you end up using it for the new project, you will have to buy more material at a price of 22 rupees. That is why whenever a material is in regular use, you will have to take replacement cost as relevant for decision making. Clear? Second case, if the material is not in use at all, you know, if you do not, with the decision, guys, you use raw material. Hi, Anna. Without the decision, what will you do with it? Sell the raw material at what price? 16 rupees per unit. So if you end up consuming those raw materials, guys, for the new project, what is your opportunity cost? 16 rupees per unit. The amount that you would have otherwise realized as such, guys, by selling the raw material will now become relevant for decision making. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं? Yes or no, guys? So whenever you have stocks of raw material, there can be two basic cases. I'll talk about another case later. First, if the material is in regular use, historical cost कभी आएगा ही नहीं बेटा, कुछ भी कर लो, historical cost will not be relevant for decision making. So if the material is in regular use, you will take replacement cost. If the material is not in use, you will have to take as relevant for decision making. Are we clear about this? Next, what if the material is not in stock only? तब तो historical cost आएगा ही नहीं बेटा. If the material is not in stock, matlab it is a material that you never purchased earlier or you do not have stocks of. So if you accept the new project, will you have to make additional purchases? If you have to make additional purchases, guys, that will be directly at the prevailing replacement cost. So my replacement cost would be relevant for decision making. Clear? You have stocks of raw material, you will have to question yourself, is the material in regular use or if the material is not in use? If the material is in regular use, replacement cost is relevant. If the material is not in use, resale value is relevant. If you do not have stocks of raw material, the question of what are you going to do will not arise. You will have to obviously buy the raw material in case you accept the project. If you're buying the material, guys, what will be your incremental expenditure? Replacement cost will be your incremental expenditure, and that is why it will be relevant for decision making. Are we clear about this? What if fresh quantities cannot be purchased? मार्केट में मटेरियल नहीं है. यू हैव 10. सर हमारे पास भी नहीं है, समझो, फिर तो प्रोजेक्ट लेने का सवाल ही पैदा नहीं आता ना. Are you clear, guys? Someone gave you an order to manufacture a nuclear warhead. Will you be able to do it? No, no. Will you determine what is relevant, what is irrelevant? Option ही नहीं है बेटा वहाँ पे. You have 10,000 units of raw material A. It is being used to manufacture some product as present. There's a new project coming your way. You can use that raw material A for that project also. But the problem is, I will not be able to buy. Then, you have learned this. क्या बेटा? Very good. The amount of contribution that you are foregoing on the other project, beta, would be relevant for decision making. But when you compute that contribution as such, guys, let's say, beta, right now raw material A is being used to manufacture some product X. The selling price per unit of X, beta, is, let's say, 200 rupees. To manufacture X, you need raw material A 1 unit. 1 unit का cost of raw material beta is कितना? Historical cost 20 rupees. All right. Replacement cost का सवाल ही नहीं आएगा बेटा. Why? You will not be able to buy fresh quantities. Let's say beta all your other variable expenses, guys, are 150 rupees. What is your contribution per unit? 30 rupees. This product X is not only giving you 30, but is also helping you to recover 20. 20 rupees is historical cost. After deducting 20, I'm left with 30. That means, guys, by using this raw material, I will get an incremental revenue of 200. I have to incur an incremental expenditure of, what's my net incremental benefit of using this raw material? 50 rupees per unit, not just 30 rupees per unit. I repeat, you already have raw material. If you use this to manufacture product X, how much incremental expenditure should you incur? Why not that 20 rupees? Already incurred in the past, sunk cost, not relevant for decision making. Yes or no? I will have to incur additional 150. By incurring that additional 150, how much am I getting elsewhere? 200. Net incremental benefit कितना हो गया? This is a reason, guys, when they say a raw material which is in existing stock better and cannot be purchased, relevant cost is historical cost plus contribution foregone. मैं बोलता हूँ, let's not write historical cost. Let's just write contribution, but without taking raw material cost. It is 20 plus 30 is what they say. But common sense, beta, that 20 rupees is not relevant. But if I do not take that 20 rupees, my contribution is not 30. My contribution is. Students get confused later because they say, sir, you said historical cost is never relevant for decision making, but sudden में आप लिखा रहे हो historical cost plus contribution foregone. Correct. Historical cost is not relevant for decision making. If it is not relevant for the new project, it is not relevant for the old project also. Why did you compute contribution after deducting raw material cost? To rectify that, what will you do? add it back. That is why the equation that they say beta is historical cost plus contribution foregone. How will you remember this? Simple. Raw material already hai. इसके बाद में how much is the incremental expenditure, how much is the incremental revenue. My incremental expenditure there is 150, my incremental revenue is 200, my effective net benefit beta by using the raw material elsewhere is 50 rupees. I will have to ensure that the new project is giving me at least 50 rupees. That will become relevant for decision making. 4 cases so far. First, you already have stocks of raw material and fresh quantities can be purchased. If fresh quantities can be purchased better, it's either replacement cost or realizable value, depending on whether the raw material is in regular use or whether the raw material is not in use. What if you do not have stocks of raw material at all? Replacement cost, because you will have to buy. You have stocks of raw material, but you cannot purchase additional quantities. Then contribution. Now raw material has become a limiting factor. If raw material has become a limiting factor, your goal beta will be to also recover the amount of contribution. You either write historical cost plus contribution or you write contribution without deducting raw material cost. One and the same. Are you all getting it? Yes or no? Let's say guys that you have raw material A. But this raw material A is toxic. There are many raw materials that the organization has beta which has to be disposed of in the right manner. They do not get anything guys by selling it. They pay money to remove it. ठीक है जैसे guys pollution control board वाले बेटा they keep visiting all the factories as such to check whether the waste is being disposed of in the right manner or not, because it's a common practice as such guys कि उठाओ पूरा का पूरा dump it in the nearest drainage. तो बीच में एक बार उनकी भी सटक गई guys. Most of the small factories were shut for a month. सबके सब पे ताला लगा के छोड़ दिए वो लोग. The requirement is very simple. These are materials that cannot be disposed of in the outside environment. There's a pollution control board here. You have to go there, dump the material there. But problem क्या है वहाँ पे जाने का? Transportation cost, and there to dump it we have to pay. They will not take it like that only. So if you have toxic material, let's say beta, this material is not in use. Right now as such beta, in order to remove the raw material, you will have to incur a cost of 10,000 rupees. To get the raw material removed from the organization, you will have to incur an expenditure of 10,000. Now there's a new project coming your way guys for which you can use this raw material. What will be relevant for decision making? You understood the example? अपने पास raw material है, toxic है. You know what is toxic, right guys? Huh? So that raw material A guys right now is not in use. So the only thing that is left is you have to dispose it off by incurring a cost of. अब नया project आ रहा है for which this raw material can be used. If you can use the raw material for the new project aside better, what will be relevant? Sound में आया दिशा example? Can you tell me better the example? Forget the answer. I don't care about the answers. All I care about better is whether you're listening or not. तू सुन रही है मेरे को मालूम है इसलिए तेरे को पूछा. हाँ. So what should I consider as relevant for the new project? Anyone guys? Varad? Cost of disposal. तो उसको 10,000 cost में include करूँ? उसको recover थोड़ी करेगा यार. तू क्या कर रहा है? Subtract करना. It is now a saving. I will not take any expenditure only. I will take it as an inflow. Because by using the raw material for the new project, I am saving an amount of 10,000 rupees. You have to be very careful about those wordings as such guys. So if there's any raw material as such beta that is to be disposed of, इसमें नहीं है वो. Exam के question में देने वाला हूँ ये point में. समझ गया ना? There will be one question in the marginal costing test as such beta on relevant costing, but I will not give such detailed list of expenses like how they've given. I'll give only 5 expenses. But one of the expenditure will be this. Alternate use of the raw material beta is what? You have to dispose it off. लिख ले रही है अभी. बेशर्मो. But dispose, I will not give the same figures beta. And I might not use the word toxic there. So you will have to dispose it off. That is why beta it will now be considered as savings. That's the fifth case of raw material. Are we all clear about this? Yes or no, guys? Next, better, there might be another case wherein they will tell us multiple alternative uses of raw, not in use है, वो बोल रहा है या तो तुम उसको modify करके you can convert it into a usable material or you can sell it. I repeat, the raw material is not in use. If you are not even using it for the new project, then instead of specifying that you can just sell it in the market, they might tell us an alternative use of that raw material, but for that I will have to incur a little modification cost. Let's say, guys, raw material A can be used in place of raw material B. Raw material B market में मिल रहा है at a cost of 25 rupees. But to use it as a substitute for raw material B, I will have to incur a modification cost of, let's say, 6 rupees. I have to incur some expenditure on raw material A, guys, so that it can be used as a substitute for raw material B. Or I can sell raw material A in the market better at a selling price of, kitna the realizable value? 16 rupees. What will a rational human being do? Will he sell it in the market at 16 rupees or will he use it as a replacement for raw material B? Why replacement for raw material B? My effective saving is how much here? Just by incurring 6 rupees, I can avoid paying 25 rupees for raw material B. Are you not saving 19 rupees? I repeat, just by incurring 6 rupees, you can avoid paying 25. So your net saving is 19. So if you do not use this raw material for the new project, you have an option of either saving 19 rupees, guys, or you have an option of selling it at 16 rupees. Obviously, what will you do? That will now be considered as relevant for decision making. So opportunity cost is always the cost of the next best alternative. If you use this raw material A for the new project, the opportunity cost that I will consider here is 19 and not 16, because I know if I do not use this raw material for the new project, what am I going to do? You will modify it and use it as a replacement for raw material B. Itna detail mein nahi de sakta beta usually, but we do not know. These are the maximum cases that will come under raw material. 6 cases. Are we all clear about this? What if it is in use? What if it is not in use? And then what if you cannot buy more quantities? What if you do not have stock only? What if it's a toxic material? And what if there are multiple alternate uses? All of these are the detailed cases of raw material. Any doubt in this? समझ में आ गया पक्का? Yes or no? उसके नीचे बेटा ऐसे लिखो, एक सेकंड पूरा सुन लो, बाद में लिखना. So if it is not in stock, guys, and to be purchased, what will be relevant? Replacement cost would be relevant. What do you understand with the word replacement cost? The cost that you're going to incur is such, better, in case you are purchasing fresh quantities today. If it is in stock, I will have to check whether additional quantities can be purchased or not. ठीक है? And additional quantities cannot be purchased. If additional quantities can be purchased, उसके बाद में बेटा I will have to see whether it is in regular use. If it is in regular use, you know that if you use any stocks of raw material, you will have to buy. That is why what will be relevant? Replacement cost. If it is not in use, resale value. Yes or no, beta? If the material is toxic, iske niche guys, then the cost of disposal will be considered as, very good, cost of disposal will be considered as savings. Multiple alternate uses अगर है तो the best alternative will be the opportunity cost. Yes or no? The best alternative will be opportunity cost. मतलब remaining opportunity से जो भी है. What if additional quantities cannot be purchased? Contribution or contribution foregone. This should be without considering without considering raw material cost. If you consider raw material cost beta, then it is historical cost plus the amount of contribution foregone. यही summary है बस और कुछ नहीं है. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है बेटा? ठीक है. Yes guys, the next concept asad beta is labor. Labor में beta there will only be two categories of labor that they will give us. Either the labor is permanent or the labor is temporary. Temporary labor का मतलब होता है labor can be hired anytime, labor can be removed anytime. If the labor is temporary as such guys, whatever is the amount of wages that you will have to pay to them for a new project will be relevant for decision making. Whatever, क्योंकि that will be your incremental expenditure. If the labor is temporary, whatever is the amount of wage that you will have to pay to the employees will be relevant for decision. Why will it be relevant? If the new project is, even if you have existing employees asad beta, please understand, if the new project is not accepted, you can remove the employees and reduce your labor cost. If the new project is accepted, you will have to hire them and pay salaries. That is why whatever is the amount of salaries that you're going to pay will be relevant for decision making. ये हो गया किसके लिए? Temporary labor. They might use the word temporary labor, they might use the word contract labor. Doesn't matter. दोनों में it means you can hire whenever you want, you can remove them whenever you want. That is why incremental wages will be relevant for decision making. Coming to permanent employees of the organization. What will be relevant guys will depend on what are they doing at present. Are they sitting idle? Or, matlab see, there can be few employees as such who are great, that the organization will not prefer giving them any work. Yes or no guys? Let's say beta that Shlok is working in a CA firm. Alright. So he's been given work in the past asad beta, all the work screwed up. So अभी वो क्या करता है guys? Office जाता है, side में बैठता है रोज. He doesn't do anything. The company is taking a new work guys. They think that Shlok services can be used. काम अच्छा ही है, easy है, हो जाएगा बोल के. Now, whether or not the new project is accepted, guys, will the stipend that is being paid to Shlok change? Nothing is relevant for decision making. There's no new expenditure. Shlok is irrelevant. मजाक कर रहा हूँ यार. Absolutely relevant. नजरिए से देख बस. हाँ. So guys, when you guys take this as an example as साथ बेटा real life match हो रहा होगा, but ऐसे consider नहीं. Whenever there is permanent employees and the existing employees are underutilized matlab there is idle capacity. Whether or not you accept the new project as such beta, you will continue to pay them salaries. Just to confuse students guys, abhi ye questions mein nahi, final mein they used to tell us that idle time will now be considered as product cost. Tu accounts mein kya kar raha hai, who cares about it? Earlier it was being accounted as idle time cost, now it is being accounted as product cost. Doesn't matter how are you accounting it. Were you not paying salaries earlier also? Are you not paying salaries now also? Yes. Nothing is relevant. When will nothing be relevant in respect of wages? Srinivas, bol beta, huh? If it is temporary employees asad beta, the question of idle time will not come because you can remove them whenever you want it. If it is permanent employees only guys and they are underutilized beta, what will be relevant? Nothing, because whether or not you accept the new contract, the amount of wages that you are going to pay them is not going to change. That is why nothing will be relevant for decision making. Are we all clear about this? Yes or no guys? Next beta, if there are permanent employees and they are fully utilized at present, if you can hire more employees, then the wages that you are paying them will be relevant. But what if you cannot hire more employees? Let's say beta the existing employees are skilled. Shlok, अच्छा वाला example है बेटा अभी, ठीक है? The existing employees are skilled guys, but you do not have people like Shlok out in the market there. You cannot hire more Shloks. Shlok is Shlok beta, unique. So, if you accept a new project, you will have to remove Shlok from one project and put it on a new project. Correct? What will be relevant for decision making Shlok? The additional salary to be, Shlok will not be paid any additional salary. Shlok was working for the organization before also, is working for the organization now also. It is not that beta is growing another hand, he will work on the new project also, old project also. You are still working for the organization, you are still being paid salary, you were paying salary earlier also, you are being paid salary now also. But you will have to be removed from an existing job and put on the new job. न्यू प्रोजेक्ट का ओल्ड प्रोजेक्ट का अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट. तुम्हारा साला. It is exactly the same as material example. Additional quantities cannot be purchased. We cannot use the word employees cannot be hired as such better. So that is why wages plus contribution foregone. क्योंकि वो पुराने वाला contribution में वो लोग wage deduct किए होंगे. That is why what will be relevant now guys will be wages plus the amount of contribution foregone. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? These are the only three cases that they will give. Either it is temporary employees. If they're temporary employees, whatever is the amount of wages that you will have to pay them will be relevant for decision making. If they are permanent employees, check. If they are underutilized at present, idle as such better, then nothing is relevant, because whether or not you accept the project as such better, the total amount of wages are still going to remain same. If the existing employees are fully utilized and additional employees cannot be hired, then wages that you are paying them plus the amount of contribution that you are foregoing. क्योंकि ये जो पुराना वाला project है, it is not only helping us recover wages, it is also giving us some contribution. Both of them will become relevant for decision making. Are we clear about this? Yes or no, kids? Variable overheads, guys. Always relevant. You incur variable overheads, guys, only if you undertake a project. So that is why variable overheads are always and always relevant for decision making. Even if the employees were sitting idle, their salaries will not be relevant. But when they are working and you're incurring variable overheads, they will be relevant. There's an employee in the organization, beta, let's say Dhairya, sitting idle in the organization, doing nothing as such, beta. If you take up a new project, he will work on the new project. There is no increase in salary. Earlier also you were paying him salary, now also you're paying him salary. But when he works on the new project, will the organization incur variable overheads? Will be relevant for decision making. Fixed overheads, unless otherwise given, not relevant for decision making. Only if they tell us that there is going to be some. Srinivas, you know that thing that you do with your eyes when you're sleepy. So fixed overheads as such, guys, will be relevant only and only if there is specific. There's some amount of increase or decrease. These are all the cases that you should be aware of, better nothing else. समझ में आ रहा है? In spite of covering everything possible better, there can always be a new sentence that can be used in the question. We'll have to just use our common sense. कभी भी doubt आ रहा है, दो alternative लिखना है. With the decision, without the decision. Write all the cash flows. You will know what is relevant, what is not relevant. This is exactly the same logic that we also use in FM capital budgeting, investment decision that I just started the other day. वहाँ पे they do not try to test guys on these aspects a lot, but even if they try, all you have to do is just write with the new project, without the new project, what are your cash flows. You will know what is relevant, what is not relevant. Are we clear about this? Yes or no, guys? समझ में आ गया बेटा सबको?